Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You wake up in the morning. Step into your kitchen and reach for your usual coffee mug. But something feels off. The mug is there, but it's not the one you remember using every day. Your spouse insists it has always been this way. Yet your memory says otherwise. You shake it off, chalk it up to forgetfulness. But then it happens again. Small details of your world seem to shift without explanation. Could it be that reality is not as fixed as we believe? Throughout history, great minds have pondered the nature of reality. Plato envisioned a world of mere shadows, a projection of a higher, truer existence. Kant argued that what we perceive is not reality itself, but a construct filtered through our senses. And now, modern science is catching up to these ancient ideas, suggesting that reality may not be singular or absolute, but rather a fluid, ever-splitting spectrum of possibilities. At the heart of this inquiry lies quantum mechanics, a field of science so bizarre that even Einstein called some of its implications spooky. The famous double-slit experiment is a perfect example. When scientists fired tiny particles through two slits, they found that these particles behaved as both waves and particles simultaneously until they were observed. The mere act of observation collapsed their wave-like state into a single, definite outcome. What does this mean for us? It suggests that reality is not fixed until it is perceived, opening the door to the possibility that multiple versions of events could coexist. Unseen but very real. The many worlds interpretation, proposed by physicist Hugh Everett in the 1950s, takes this idea further. It suggests that every time a choice is made, reality splits. In one version, you decided to retire to Florida. In another, you chose Arizona. These two realities unfold independently, yet both exist. It may sound like science fiction, but experiments in quantum computing, where particles exist in multiple states at once, are lending credence to this theory. Even quantum superposition, observed in laboratories worldwide, supports the idea that objects, and by extension, perhaps ourselves, can exist in more than one state at a time until measured or interacted with. But why does this matter to you? Because understanding this could change the way you live. If reality is fluid, not rigid, then your life is not written in stone. Your experiences, your circumstances, even your aging process, these might not be as fixed as you once thought. Scientists now believe that consciousness plays a key role in determining which reality we experience. A groundbreaking study by physicist John Wheeler suggests that the way we observe the universe actually influences how it behaves. This means that your thoughts, your attention, your focus, they all act as tuning forks, selecting the version of reality you inhabit. Consider the famous placebo effect, a phenomenon where people experience real physiological changes simply because they believe a treatment is working. In some cases, patients given sugar pills see tumors shrink or pain disappear, all because of their expectation of healing. This isn't magic, it's proof that the mind has tangible power over the body. Could this same principle apply to our ability to navigate different versions of reality? Think about your own life. How often have you expected the worst and found your fears confirmed? Or, on the other hand, how many times have you woken up feeling strong and clear-headed, and the entire day unfolded effortlessly in your favor? What if these weren't just coincidences, but small-scale examples of how we shift between realities based on our state of mind? If this sounds radical, consider that many ancient traditions have taught similar ideas for centuries. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of lokas describes different planes of existence, each accessible through shifts in consciousness. Tibetan Buddhist monks practice dream yoga, training their minds to become lucid in dreams so they can move freely between dimensions. Indigenous shamans enter altered states using rhythmic drumming or plant medicine, claiming to travel to realms beyond our physical world. Today, science is catching up. Studies on deep meditation reveal that experienced meditators enter brainwave states, theta and delta, similar to those observed in quantum superposition. In these states, individuals report vivid, hyper-realistic experiences, sometimes even recalling knowledge they never consciously learned. Is it possible they are tuning into other versions of themselves, ones who have lived different lives and made different choices? Understanding that reality is fluid, not fixed, empowers you to take control of your life in a new way. Your thoughts are like a radio dial, tuning you into different realities. Begin to notice, Are you focusing on limitations? Or are you expecting expansion? Shift your attention to possibilities rather than fears. Just before drifting off to sleep, focus on a question you'd like answered. Ask yourself, what would a wiser version of me do in this situation? Keep a journal nearby. Many people report waking up with sudden insights that feel as though they came from somewhere beyond their usual thinking. If there are infinite versions of reality, then somewhere out there, a version of you is already living the life you desire. Spend 5 minutes each morning visualizing yourself as that person. See what they see. Feel what they feel. Neuroscience confirms that the brain does not distinguish between imagined experiences and real ones, meaning that visualizing success primes your mind to act accordingly. Next time you find yourself in a frustrating situation, pause and say to yourself, what if I could step into a slightly better version of this moment? Act as though you were already in that improved reality. Adjust your body language. Shift your mindset, and watch how things unfold. Studies show that gratitude physically rewires the brain, enhancing neuroplasticity and cognitive flexibility. Could it be that gratitude is a tool for tuning into a more harmonious version of reality? Try it for a week every night. List 3 things you're grateful for, and observe how your world responds. Reality is not a rigid, predetermined script. It is a living, breathing canvas, shaped by your perceptions, your beliefs, and your awareness. Whether we look to quantum mechanics or ancient spiritual traditions, the message is the same. We are far more powerful than we have been led to believe. So, the next time you find yourself questioning a strange memory, experiencing an unexplainable déjà vu, or feeling like life is nudging you in an unexpected direction, pay attention. Maybe, just maybe, you're glimpsing the edges of another reality. One where another version of you has already stepped into something extraordinary. The question is, which reality will you choose? Imagine waking up from a dream so vivid that, for a moment, you're not entirely sure where you are. The people, the places, the sensations, it all felt real. Perhaps even more real than the world you just returned to. You sit up, shake off the lingering feelings, and convince yourself it was just a dream. But what if it wasn't? What if your consciousness had momentarily stepped into another reality? Another timeline? Another version of yourself? What if dreams, déjà vu, and even gut instincts were glimpses into something much deeper, a world where consciousness is not just a passive observer, but an active force capable of manipulating energy and shaping reality itself? For centuries, philosophers and spiritual traditions have spoken of consciousness as something beyond the physical, something that exists independently of the body and can interact with unseen dimensions. The idea was once confined to esoteric teachings. But today, science is beginning to confirm what mystics have long believed. Neuroscientists studying near-death experiences, NDEs, have found cases where people report vivid encounters with other realities, sometimes gaining knowledge or perspectives they could not have accessed through normal means. Studies at institutions like the Monroe Institute have documented out-of-body experiences, OBEs, where individuals describe traveling to places they have never been, only to later verify details with astonishing accuracy. The question is no longer whether consciousness is limited to the physical brain, but rather how far it can extend and whether we can learn to control it. Quantum physics provides some of the most compelling clues about the power of consciousness. The observer effect in quantum mechanics reveals that the mere act of observing a particle can change its behavior. This suggests that consciousness is not just experiencing reality but actively shaping it. If the universe at its most fundamental level responds to observation, what does this mean for our everyday lives? Could it be that the energy of our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs is constantly interacting with reality in ways we barely understand? Consider the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese researcher who studied how human emotions affect water. In his experiments, water exposed to positive words or thoughts such as love and gratitude formed beautiful, symmetrical crystalline structures when frozen. Meanwhile, water exposed to negativity created chaotic, distorted patterns. Given that the human body is about 60% water, what implications does this have for the way we think, feel, and live? If thoughts can alter the structure of water, can they also alter the energy field surrounding us, tuning us into different possibilities, different versions of reality? This is not just theory, it has profound practical applications. When people focus their energy on a particular intention, Measurable changes occur. Studies on meditation and heart coherence conducted by the Harmath Institute show that when individuals enter a state of deep emotional coherence where their thoughts, emotions, and physiology align, measurable electromagnetic fields extend from their bodies, influencing not only their own biology but also the environment around them. Could it be that we are all, at every moment, broadcasting our reality into existence? If so, then mastering the ability to manipulate energy is not just a skill, but a necessity. Think about how you feel when you walk into a room filled with laughter and warmth. Now compare that to the sensation of entering a space filled with tension or hostility. Without a single word spoken, you can sense the energy, the vibration of the environment. This is not imagination, it is the fundamental principle that everything, including thoughts and emotions, carries a frequency. Scientists have measured these frequencies in EEG brain scans and heart rate variability studies, showing that different emotional states correspond to distinct electromagnetic patterns. The conclusion is clear. The energy you project determines what you attract. So how can we begin consciously manipulating energy to align ourselves with a better reality? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to how your body responds in different situations. Do you feel drained around certain people? Does a particular environment make you feel lighter or heavier? This is your own energy field interacting with the fields around you. Start tuning in. The second step is intention. Quantum physics has shown that reality responds to focused observation. Instead of drifting through life on autopilot, set clear intentions about what you want to experience. Every morning, visualize yourself stepping into a version of reality where things work in your favor, where your body feels healthier, your mind clearer, your interactions smoother. It sounds simple, but studies on neuroplasticity confirm that mental rehearsal physically rewires the brain, shaping future experiences. The third step is emotional alignment. Your emotions are the fuel behind your energy field. If you set an intention but your emotions contradict it, if you desire abundance but feel scarcity, or wish for health but carry stress, then your energy is misaligned. Practices like gratitude journaling, breathwork, and deep meditation can help shift this alignment. In a landmark study at UCLA, researchers found that people who practiced daily gratitude had significantly lower stress hormones and a stronger immune system. This isn't just about feeling good, it's about biologically restructuring your energy field to resonate with a more optimal reality. Finally, the most powerful step is action. Many people assume that manipulating energy means sitting in meditation and waiting for things to change. But the physical world requires participation. Once you set an intention, move toward it. The act of stepping forward, even in small ways, reinforces the frequency of your desired reality. If you want better health, adjust your daily habits. If you want deeper connections, reach out to people. The moment you take action, reality begins shifting to meet you. For centuries, this knowledge was locked away in mystery schools, hidden behind layers of symbolism and initiation. Today, science is rediscovering these truths, proving that reality is not just something that happens to us but something we shape with every thought, every breath, every emotion. The energy you project is the reality you experience. So what will you choose? What vibration will you send into the universe today? Reality is not static. It is fluid, dynamic, waiting for you to direct it. All that remains is for you to decide how you will use the power of your consciousness to shape the world around you. Have you ever had a moment where time seemed to bend, where an event unfolded too perfectly? A coincidence felt too precise? Or a memory you were certain of suddenly no longer aligned with reality? Perhaps you vividly remember a historical event happening a certain way, only to find out that the official record says otherwise. Maybe you've experienced déjà vu so intense it felt as though you had lived the moment before. Not just in some vague, familiar way, but as if you were literally stepping into a scene from another life. Could it be that time is not as rigid as we've been led to believe? Could it be that our consciousness is shifting between parallel realities, seamlessly navigating different versions of existence without us even realizing it? What if I told you that understanding time not as a linear construct but as a malleable dimension could empower you to not only make sense of these experiences but also use them to shape your reality by consciously manipulating energy? Science is beginning to confirm what many ancient traditions have long suspected: time is not fixed. Physicist Albert Einstein's theory of relativity revolutionized our understanding of spacetime. revealing that time is relative, stretching and compressing depending on speed and gravity. More recent discoveries, like those made at the Max Planck Institute, suggest that the past, present, and future might all exist simultaneously, like frames of a film reel, and that our perception of time as a forward-moving force is merely a function of human consciousness. This aligns eerily well with the teachings of Tibetan Buddhism, which describe time as an illusion of the mind, a veil that can be lifted through deep meditation and heightened awareness. If time is not a straight line but a fluid, interconnected web, then what does this mean for our reality? It means that shifts in our consciousness may allow us to slip between different versions of events, choosing which timeline we align with based on our thoughts, emotions, and energy. One of the most intriguing pieces of evidence for this idea is the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where large groups of people recall historical facts, names, or events differently from the recorded history. The case that gave this phenomenon its name comes from the widespread belief that Nelson Mandela died in the 1980s while in prison, even though, in our current reality, he was released and lived until 2013. Similar anomalies exist. The spelling of brand logos that many swear used to be different. Movie lines that people collectively misremember. Entire geographical changes that don't match people's memories. Some scientists attribute this to the fallibility of memory, but others suggest a far more radical possibility that these discrepancies are the result of shifts between parallel realities, where versions of history slightly differ from one another. If this is true, then we are all unknowingly experiencing jumps between timelines, some subtle, some profound, all influenced by the frequencies of our own consciousness. Quantum physics supports the notion that reality is not singular but layered. The many worlds interpretation suggests that every decision, every moment of observation, splits reality into different paths, all of which continue to unfold independently. In one version of your life, you made a different choice 10 years ago, and the consequences of that choice led to a different present. In another, you decided to live in a different city, follow a different career, or embrace a different belief system. These realities are not just theoretical, they exist, separated only by the limitations of perception. But what if those limitations could be overcome? What if you could consciously align yourself with the version of reality where you are healthier, more fulfilled, more in tune with your deepest purpose? What if manipulating energy and tuning into higher frequencies could shift you from one timeline to another? The key lies in understanding that your consciousness is not confined to your current timeline. Consider the way emotions influence your perception of time. When you're engaged and joyful, time seems to fly. When you're anxious or fearful, it drags. This is not just psychological. Studies in neuroscience reveal that different emotional states alter brainwave patterns and even affect the body's energy field. Researchers at the Harmath Institute have demonstrated that positive emotions create a state of coherence in the body, generating a measurable electromagnetic field that influences not only personal well-being but also interactions with the external world. Could it be that by entering this state of coherence, we align ourselves with a reality where things naturally work out in our favor? Dream research offers another fascinating clue. Studies on lucid dreaming show that when people become aware they're dreaming, they can alter their dreamscapes, manifesting objects, changing scenarios, even gaining knowledge they didn't possess while awake. Some researchers, such as Dr. Alan Hobson at Harvard, suggest that dreams are not mere hallucinations but could be glimpses into other dimensions of reality. Indigenous traditions have long taught that dreams are portals, access points to different planes of existence. If reality itself is structured similarly to a dream, if our waking life is simply another form of conscious projection, then what's stopping us from reshaping it just as we do in lucid dreams? So how do we apply this knowledge in a way that transforms our lives? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the moments when time seems to distort, when events unfold in ways that feel strangely synchronized or out of place. These moments are signs that reality is more flexible than it appears. The second step is to become intentional with your energy. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right frequency to pick up a specific station, your consciousness must be tuned to the right emotional and mental state to align with a desired reality. Practice shifting your frequency by consciously directing your emotions. Choose gratitude over frustration, curiosity over doubt, presence over regret. This is not just a feel-good exercise. It is a method for tuning into different timelines. A way of manipulating energy to synchronize with a reality where things unfold in your favor. The third step is to take action as if the shift has already happened. If you want to step into a reality where you are healthier, begin acting like a healthier version of yourself now. If you want to align with abundance, start making decisions from a place of confidence rather than scarcity. Neuroscience confirms that the brain does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. By embodying the energy of the reality you want to step into, you are neurologically and energetically aligning with it. Just as experiments in quantum mechanics show that particles exist in multiple states until observed, your life exists in multiple states until you consciously choose one. Finally, learn to trust the unfolding of reality. The more you resist, the more you reinforce the timeline you wish to leave behind. Instead, surrender to the flow of possibilities. Remain open to synchronicities, and cultivate the kind of mindset that expects and allows miracles. The world is not as fixed as we once thought. Reality is malleable, time is fluid, and you are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. The question is not whether you are shifting between realities, but whether you will learn to do it with intention. What if, right now, you decided to step into a timeline where life is filled with greater ease, greater clarity, greater purpose? The door is open. The choice is yours.